Hey everyone, your host Nick here, and you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. First, I want to remind you that we are a fully independent podcast, quite literally just a group of friends who have met once a week since 2008 to talk about video games. If you like our show, the best thing you can do for us is be active in our community. I recommend Discord. You can subscribe to our show, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service, or, if you're so inclined, bless us with your patronage on Patreon or Twitch. If you're new, all you need to know is this. We record these shows live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on Twitch, and the audio version launches on all podcast services on Friday morning. Patreon and Twitch supporters will even get the show a day early on Thursdays. But if you want to know more about any of this, about what we do, or find all the important links you need, simply visit us at 4playernetwork.com. And that's it. This is the only ad you'll ever hear on this show. So, with that said, thank you for listening. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 780-something. It is February 13th, 2024. I'm your host, Nick Henderson, and I am, of course, joined by the illustrious Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Christopher Guthridge. God damn it. Is he frozen?
Hello.
Okay. Oh my god, Crispy, you're
What?
freaking me out.
Oh wait.
My internet is cutting in and out. Like it's
Okay.
just dipping.
Yeah,
And I don't know that I can fix that. So
Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna kind of have to hope for the best. And Christopher Davis is here as well.
I am as well. Good evening. Nick, that is a lovely t-shirt.
Thank you for bringing this up. I was going
All
to
right.
mention it. Don't worry, Chris Davis. I wasn't going to forget.
Oh man, he's sitting down. I can't see his fucking t-shirt. So.
Here, I'll stand up. Chris Davis sent me this package. It says it's trauma, Silent Hill Ascension on it
That
with a
is
bunch of
pretty
rainbows
good.
and stars and hearts
That's a-
and stuff.
That's a pretty good shirt.
It is a pretty good shirt. I completely forgot that Chris Davis said there was something coming to my house. So it just showed up one day, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Who sent me this?" Thank you, Chris Davis. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
And
It's a
he
lovely
didn't even
shirt.
make you trade the $50 he owes you for that shirt.
Wait,
Wait,
owes me
what?
50 Oh,
I'm just kidding. Just keep going. Keep going.
anyways, yeah, no, seriously, thank you, Chris Davis. Well, we have a lot to talk about tonight, guys. But first, before we get into it, of course, well, here's a couple things for tonight. One, in a minute, we're gonna do fantasy critic updates because there's been a couple things that have transpired. But before we get into like impressions, because we do have a lot of impressions, we're gonna talk about Persona 3. We're gonna talk about Like a Dragon. We're gonna talk about Helldivers 2. We're gonna talk about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League finally. So there's definitely some stuff to talk about. But before we do that, we are going to talk about. I was trying to figure out the best place to post or make known the community top 10 list, because we do use that community top 10 which is compiled from all the great lists that all of you guys submitted. I didn't know where to put that because we've kind of figured out our top 10s and the year in review, but I was like, where am I going to put this community top 10? And then Brad had the brilliant idea. It was like, we have a podcast, fucking just do it on the podcast.
It was not my idea. It was
well-
someone else's idea, and I just seconded it.
It was
okay,
my
well-
idea.
I don't know whose idea it was, but whoever it was, thank you. I think I was like, it's like, why didn't it make a perfect segment? So I'm gonna reveal to you guys exclusively here on 4Player Podcast. We're gonna do it live. I'm gonna tell you where the community, the list that the community put together. I can even tell you the nitty gritty as far as to how many people voted for things, how many points it got.
Zero.
There are
Sky.
over.
way.
Let's see. Between all of the lists that were submitted, there were 110 games from 2023 that were mentioned in some form or another. So I'm not going to, of course, go through all 110, but I'll tell you what the top 10 were, and I'll tell you some of the most interesting things that kind of popped up here. So we'll do that, and then we'll talk about all the video games. So with that said, like I said, Fantasy Critic, that's where I want to start because some things have happened. We've got a couple
Really?
more. I mean, we got some games that came out in the past week, some stuff, some points on the board. right, that
Oh,
weren't
my
on the board
counter
last
pick
week.
came out.
Yes. Is that the only thing that came out in the past week? We talked about Final Fantasy Relink, which got 12 points, and maybe. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. So, Ultros, which was on my list, and also Brad's counter pick, came out, and that's sitting at like an 80 right now, right?
79 maybe?
No, it was 79. It's bouncing back and forth between 79 and 80.
Damn.
So it's 10 points, 9 points, 10 points. And it's only got 26 reviews so far. I think it'll get more. So we'll kind of see where that
Going down. It's going
settles.
down.
But yeah, Ultros is out, and I was thinking about Banishers, but I was like, nobody on our league has Banishers. I've been keeping an eye on that one. So I know some people in the community.
It's too risky.
And that's why I didn't ultimately end up drafting it. But
I don't think it's too risky. I feel like it was just like not as strongly marketed as it probably should have been.
Well, I think it's risky in the sense that like if you're talking about like trying to gain points, it could go either way. So
risky because Don't Nod ships a lot of 77s. That's all I meant.
Even if the people love those 77s, and there are lots of people that love those 77s, which is totally fine. You know, as far as Fantasy Critic goes, it's a math thing. So, and then we had a bid this week. We had a pickup.
Oh, really?
This past week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brad wants to shame me for this. I don't
want to shame you. I'm saying, like, speaking of riskiness, I mean, Jesus Christ, this is a bold pick before a bold game. I suppose.
Here's the thing: it's early in the year. I still have plenty of time. I still have my unconditional drop. I still have my super drop. You know, it's whatever.
Are we talking about Indica?
Indica, yeah.
That's
which I played, which I streamed on the podcast, on the stream on Twitch or whatever. I don't know. I can't talk tonight. I streamed on Twitch last Monday, and fucking loved it. And here's the thing, you know, it's gonna pay the indie tax a bit. I'm not expecting that game to pull in like 90.
I'm not, but I am expecting the indie tax. It's like gonna pay a weird tax maybe. Like that's a game that can be like.
I could see that game. The pendulum could swing either way on that. Yes, I feel like
it could. Yeah.
I think that game has
What is going on with the music in that game?
Dude, it's wild. That game is
not
so
like
much
necessarily in a good way, in more of like
I think it's fantastic.
Way. It's
Dude,
confounding.
I think it's fan fucking. So if you're not aware of what this game is, it's you play as a nun who is talking to the devil. The devil's like in her head talking, and she's going on a journey with this dude, this criminal who talks to God. So it's like a buddy cop thing where it's like a nun talking to the devil, a criminal talking to God, and they're going on a journey together. And at first glance, it looks like a horror game, and it kind of is. It's creepy in the right. It feels like an A. This is a perfect way of describing it. It feels like an A24 movie. You know what I mean? Like one of those like. Which could go either way.
She's developed some bad habits.
Exactly, Noel. Exactly.
Shut up, Noel.
Dude, like the game opens with you on this like weird like old timey bike, and like you're pedaling through the snow, and you have this criminal on the back of the bike who's had his like arm amputated and shit, and you're like pedaling through the snow trying to get him somewhere where you can get him some medical attention, and then there's like at certain points like
we talked
about
this last week.
It's like pixelated, and like the music plays that's like really video gamey music in like really unexpected weird places, but it's also like super dark. I don't know. The game looks wild. It spoke to me.
And it takes place in Russia?
Yes, takes place in Russia. I'm picking from the heart on this one because it's fucking weird and wild, and it speaks to me. So
I actually hope this plays out for you. I hope this like pays off. It looks weird. It looks weird.
It's shot to the top of like my most anticipated list.
I feel like you've been very cold and calculated this so far this year, Nick, and this seems like a wild 2023 Nick bid.
Well, again, it's early. I can take some risks while it's early.
True.
Because I can backpedal on some of these.
Speaking of which, in efforts to move this along, Ed used his unconditional drop without really understanding the nature of the unconditional drop. He thought it was he dropped Homeworld 3 because it got delayed. There was some bad
preview coverage
impressions from a beta or whatever or alpha, which is smart, right? I think that game is a grenade, right? And he dropped it, but he didn't realize that was the one that he has that's free. All the other drops are either going to have to be the purchased super drop, which is probably going to be used,
or they have to get pushed out of 2024,
or they have to actually get pushed out of the year, and he didn't realize that. So not really a fuck up. It was probably something he was going to need to drop. It's smart ultimately, but Yeah.
It is a
Anyways,
thing that happened. So I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we mention it.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, in general, community leagues are still popping off. People are bidding like crazy on things, filling up their lists. We're kind of playing it slow, obviously, outside of Chris Davis, so there's not too much action.
Yeah, Chris Davis is sprinting for the finish line there, but that's okay. You know,
he says he has a strategy. He's going to start trading or something. There still has been no.
I didn't say that.
Somebody in one of the community
leagues.
leagues said there's some potential trades happening. And
I'll believe it when I see it because we tried last year and it doesn't.
I want to see a trade work out this year.
I just want to understand the mechanics of it because I found out that people get to vote on whether they accept the trade or not, and we still don't know. Is that unanimous or is that just like a majority? We have no idea because we haven't done one successfully.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that, see how it goes. But anyways, that's what's going on with Fantasy Critic right now. But without further ado, let's just jump right into this. Again, like I said, every year when we do our Game of the Year stuff, we determine our year in review list, which is basically our overall top 10, and that's basically calculated using all of our staff lists and the community list. And I calculate the points for each game the same way I calculate the community top 10 list. It's weighted, right? So if you have 10 games, your number 10 choice gets 1 point, your number 1 game gets 10 points, that kind of thing. And then I tabulate all that shit up. It's not the most sophisticated way, but it fucking works. So I'll say this, our 2023 year in review is up on the front page of 4playernetwork.com if you want to check it out. I will say this, I'm so sorry, Brad. Zelda beat out Baldur's Gate by like single digit points. Which is crazy when you consider like they were both sitting. Actually, I can tell you concretely how many points right here.
It's fine. I mean, simply.
It's interesting.
Zelda,
like,
I'm sure.
Wait, what?
I'm sure it's just more people played Zelda.
2 points. 2 points.
Yeah, Nick was in the middle of my production of my Game of the Year video. Nick was yelling at me for my placement. Yes, you were.
I mean, it won our list, I think, because more people here played it. That's simply it.
I mean, that's the math works. That's kind of, know, but like, I don't think any one person's list made the difference. It's just the number of people who played it versus the number of people who didn't, but whatever. But like Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom are both very, very, very close, but Tears of the Kingdom ultimately edged it out. Okay, so real quick, community top 10. Here we go. Should I start from 10, work my way down, I suppose?
Oh, no, start at 1.
Shut the...
Also, fuck you, Nick. Don't say I'm sorry, Brad. Look, Tears of the Kingdom was a very close number 2 for me.
I know.
For you, it was number 5. So go fuck.
Yeah,
Wait, whoa.
Nick,
For Tears of the Kingdom, yeah.
Boo, Nick.
yeah. It is partially my fault.
Go watch Nick's top 10 video to see
we
what
all know.
We all
know that 1 and 2 were locked in last year. 1 and 2 were not up for debate.
Let me tell you this. Let me just say, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but Tears of the Kingdom is an amazing fucking video game. But I could not shake the feeling of like, this is really great and all, but it's very familiar. Outside of the mechanics.
Look,
he's going
we'll hear your bad
drunken
takes when we get to number 1,
merchant.
okay? Save your bad takes for when we get to number 1.
All right. Community top 10. Coming in, just barely. Let's make the drunken merchant happy. Barely making it onto the list at number 10. Can y'all guess what it is?
Is it Tears of the Kingdom?
Drunken merchant game.
Yeah, drunken merchant. What is drunken? Y'all know it. Y'all know it.
Wait, that was
last year.
Wrong year. Lies of P.
Lies of P, baby.
That's what it was.
Nice.
Awful.
With 62 points, Lies of P came in at number 10. And then right behind that, or at number 9, or I guess right ahead of that, number 9, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which was my personal Game of the Year. So I'm glad it made the list one way or the other.
Right.
Coming in at number 8, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Should be higher.
Appeared on a lot of lists. By the way, Star Wars Jedi Survivor had 64 points. Armored Core had 69.
Yeah.
Nice. And then this kind of surprised me. Just ahead of that, number 7, Spider-Man 2, which didn't show up on...
Wait, why does that surprise you?
I mean, it surprised me. I mean, it appeared on Crispy's list. Crispy didn't make a video, but he did send me a list.
I was
it's
the
on
only
his
one
list.
that put it on a list?
You were the only staff member that put it on a list.
You
It's a fine game.
your list?
Did not make.
Wow,
You
I,
watched
didn't
my
even,
list.
I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that it wasn't on Nick's.
Wow.
You bitch.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was not on my list.
I mean,
great
So
game.
I'm the only fucking real one holding it up for the classics.
yeah, but
on here?
but
Like,
Crispy, I've not seen your list, but I'm sure it was like number 8 or some shit, right?
He
I mean,
was in the
it's
bottom
Insomniac.
5. It was in the bottom 5.
Yeah, yeah.
When you say bottom five, you
Insomniac
mean like
has been
10
living in the
10
bottom
through 6?
5 their entire career.
Yes, Nick. What do you think I mean? You think I
don't
call
know.
1 through 5 the bottom 5?
Yeah.
I feel like a real
Insomniac has
dunce
never been
tonight.
top 5.
I
They've
can
never
tell you
been
right
top
now
5.
where it was on Crispy's list.
It was number
number
6. It was
Number
the
6.
best of the worst.
The best
was-
Insomniac. Always a
It was
top,
on my top 10
always a
too,
bridesmaid, never a bride.
It was on Nolan's list too.
Because Nolan didn't play 10 games last year, but he did
Oh.
play
Ed
Spider-Man, so it's on his list.
So it has
Yeah,
to be.
Ted
read-
Price, always a groomsman, never a groom.
I can read Nolan like a book there. Number 7, Hi-Fi Rush, or sorry, number 6. This would be number 6. Hi-Fi Rush,
Nice.
which
Yes.
raked in 81 points. And sorry, Spider-Man 2 had 76, and then Hi-Fi Rush had 81. And then right above that, Dave the motherfucking Diver, which appeared
Really?
on a lot of lists.
Number 5?
Number
That
5.
was my number 5 game.
Should have been
That's a-
higher.
Very popular.
Yes, Dave the Diver number 5 with 82 points, just barely beat out Hi-Fi Rush by 1
Wow.
point. And then right above that, Resident Evil 4.
Makes
Big
sense.
jump though, big jump. We're going from
We're not going to talk
82
about
points
Chris
with Dave the
Davis's
Diver.
tragic list.
Going from 82
Tragic.
points with Dave the Diver. Hey, bitch. Listen. 82 points for Dave the Diver, jumping to 135 points for Resident Evil 4.
Damn.
Big jump.
Wow.
Big ass jump. And then
So,
I think y'all already know what the top 2 were, but what do y'all think the number 3 was?
So Baldur's Gate Zelda. Like Alan Wake, maybe?
Yeah. Is Alan Wake.
yeah.
Alan Wake
Wow.
2 with 151 points. And then coming
That
in
was
at
the
number
one that I thought would like maybe take out your number 1, which was always your number 1 all year, and you had it like at 4 or something.
Well,
right?
so
I mean,
here's
I'm
the thing,
surprised-
and this is something I've kind of I've grappled with for a long time. It's a really weird thing for me to wrap my head around because I feel like a top 10 games of the year can be completely disjointed from like my top 10 games of all time. Because I think Alan Wake 2 is a better game than Alan Wake 1, and I stand by Alan Wake being on my top 10 games of all time. But I put Alan Wake 2 at number 4 on my list for the year. And I think a lot of it has to do with kind of like familiarity and kind of like, you know, it's
the math don't add up, Nick.
I know,
The
but
math
here's the thing.
don't
I don't
add
think
up.
I don't think they have to like. I don't think putting a game on my top 10 games of all time necessarily means that every game that ranked higher than that during its given year also has to be in my top 10 of all time. It's also who the fuck
So
cares? But
Well, cool.
anyways, that's
Alan Wake.
just what I've wrestled with. Alan Wake 2.
Recency bias, I'd call it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. But Alan Wake 2 is a phenomenal game, and I stand by my pick of Alan Wake being in my top 10 of all time. And number 2, Tears of the Kingdom, with 168 points.
I thought you said Baldur's Gate was number 2.
No, that was our overall, like for the year in review, like taking into account all this. What I'm talking about right here is specifically with the community.
So the
vote. Like,
community's right. It is us who are wrong.
correct. That is that is correct.
Yeah.
168 points for Tears of the Kingdom. But the crazy thing is, Baldur's Gate 3, the final point tally went from 168 to 251. It almost beat it by like 100 points.
Wow.
It
Almost
showed up
double.
on a ton of lists from the community at number 1 in a lot of those lists.
So
In
really,
fact-
this is Ed and Nolan's fault.
in fact, 6. So I think we had like a total of like 50 something people submit lists this year, and of those 50, 16 of them had Baldur's Gate 3 at number 1.
Well, wait, where was RoboCop Rogue City on the list?
Wait a minute.
25.
So really,
Actually,
so
funny you asked that.
Ed and Nolan really never had a chance. But Chris Davis, if he didn't put it as low as he did, it would have taken. You said it was like a single digit.
I can tell you right now, RoboCop Rogue City ranked 43 on.
Hey,
on
that's a top
but that's
50 game in 2023. That's pretty good.
That's-
Top 50, baby. Top 50.
There we go.
That's 43 out of 110. That's not. That's
the
not
60
bad.
games that came out last year.
What number did you put Baldur's Gate on your top 10, Chris Davis?
4.
Ooh.
Okay. I mean, it was up there.
Hey, he didn't,
better than
he didn't
Nick.
put RoboCop ahead of Baldur's Gate. Give him
Almost
points for
worst
that.
of the best.
Oh. So here's just a couple interesting tidbits here. Pikmin 4 barely missed the list. It edged out, or it ended up like number 11. What else? What else do you want to know? No,
What's
Pizza
the worst
Tower,
game?
The worst game, the game that only got like. Here, let me check. So the
Where
worst.
was El Paso?
I'm sure there's a
elsewhere?
few that only got 1 point.
Yeah, there's actually like 15 games that only ended up on with one. Actually, yeah, like 10 to 15
Pizza Tower
games.
is a real shame.
How many of them were hentai?
None that I know of, but I also don't recognize a lot of these games, so maybe some of them are hentai and it just got by me. I don't know.
Where was El Paso?
Oh, but hey, here you go, Nolan. I don't know what this game is, but it's called Sticky Business.
Well,
very
I'm
well
putting
could
on
be,
a private window to look this up.
To the incognito.
Among the games that only had 1 point, Sonic Superstars.
Oh, this is fine.
Like a Dragon
it's like
Ishin.
Snickers.
Did Like a Dragon Ishin come out last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was February.
But, I mean, that was a remaster.
Goodbye
Remake.
Volcano High. Ghost Runner 2.
That was Prince. Prince did that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And then Avatar Frontiers of Pandora got a vote.
Wow,
one point.
there's a true. What do they call Avatar super fans? There's a name for them, right?
Avies? Pandies?
Pandies?
Wait,
Navi?
that can't be real.
Bluebies.
Pando
No,
heads?
there are diehard like Avatar fans.
Avatar heads?
We have one in our
Navi?
community. Yeah, they're like Disney
Navians?
adults. It's weird.
Well, I'm gonna guess that one
blueberries?
person in our community is the one who voted for the
Foamers?
game on this.
Crispy,
list.
no.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of. There's a bunch of a lot of stuff in between.
It
Brad,
seemed
you
to be two
specifically.
people after Nick plays Avatar.
Brad, you specifically wanted to know about El Paso Elsewhere.
I don't think anybody played it besides me and Carlos.
Oh, hold on. That's got.
I played the demo.
Somewhere. It's got to be on here
Congratulations.
somewhere. Oh fuck.
I'm saying I don't think anybody in our fucking community.
If
played it.
Exoprimal shows up on this list, El Paso Elsewhere has to be on here.
I mean, you got to play it. Oh, King Carey. King Carey's a fan. He's good people. He's got taste.
Oh my god.
Where did
oh,
you
here
have
it
it
is.
on your
Here
top
it is.
10?
I found
King
it.
Carey?
I found it. 6 points, Brad. 6 points at number 66. It ended up on 1, 2, 3, 3 lists.
That's
To get that
thematically
score.
appropriate. Okay.
So, any other anything else you want to know here? I got it open. Probably, maybe not.
Not
Okay.
really. We got a lot.
Where
That's it.
was
I think the
for
damage
my
is done.
personal benefit? Where was Sea of Stars?
Oh, Sea of Stars was close. Sea of Stars ended up at number 18.
Okay.
Was that your game of the year, Chris?
Yes.
Sea of Stars ended up at 36 points at number 18. And remember, I'm talking specifically community. This is not taking into account any of our personal lists here. This is all the lists that were submitted to us by the community. And I want to thank everybody who submitted a list. It helps us tremendously, gives us more accurate kind of idea of what our community enjoyed last year. We do this every year, so if you want to submit next year, please do so. We appreciate it. You don't even have to have a full list of 10 games. You have a slightly if you have like a list with like 8 games, the max number of points you're going to give any one game is 8 points, but it helps. Every little bit helps. So keep it in mind for next year and submit. And we give away games. I think we gave away 2 games this year. Yeah, it was 2 games. Random drawing. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anyways, enough about that. Enough about the community top 10. Where do we go from here? We got so many games.
Can I quickly talk about a game, because I completely forgot to tell you I played a demo from the Steam Next Fest.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know if this was on Brad's radar or Crispy for that matter. It seems like it potentially would be up their alley. Die in the Dungeon Origins. Did y'all see that one?
Nope.
It's
No.
a roguelite. I want to say card game, but instead of cards, they're die. As you play and fight, you roll die, and they can have different attributes, and you place them on a board. that has certain things.
I have seen this.
Oh, this looks cool.
It's very like cool. Dicey Dungeons meets like Slay the Spire.
Like
yeah, but
Spire.
Exactly. it has cutesy pixel graphics. Nah,
yeah,
nah, we're done.
That's where you're out. That's where you draw the line.
It's gonna suck. We're done here.
So that's like when Robin walks in the room and sees me playing a Metroidvania, and she's like,
I don't make the rules, Nick. I don't make the rules.
So Brucey actually brings up a point. Balatro was one I actually downloaded, and I only played a little bit of, because that was another one I saw on the Steam Neck Fest that looked pretty good. But
that comes out like next week, so I'm just gonna
correct.
On that note too, Nolan and Crispy, if you are at all interested in Pacific Drive, I talked about it a little bit last week, but there's a demo out for that. That
also comes out like next week.
Is that the horror game where you're driving a car?
I mean, horror
not
game
exactly
might be
a horror
little bit of
game,
exaggeration. It's like an open world survival game where you're driving around in like a station wagon collecting. It's got horror elements for sure.
Right.
But like it's a survival game, and you're trying to. I would. And I said this last week.
Yeah,
I got the distinct feeling that by the end of that game, you're going to be hauling ass around that world in like an Ecto one. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it is a station wagon. That's just
I have a really
I
feeling
remember
like,
this. Yeah.
I have a strong feeling this game is going to pull serious points for Ed. I have a feeling it's
serious points.
I mean, when I say serious, I mean it's probably going to be like 88.
It comes out next
88 for an indie is like game of the year like contender.
Oh yeah,
why
baby.
do you think it's going to be an 80?
Dude, it's because I haven't stopped thinking about
Hollow
it.
Knight is an 87.
No, like, dude, look it up. On Open Critic, Hollow Knight's a 90. I don't know where this 80
Open
high
Critic,
80s.
You got to look at the score when like the game first dropped is what I'm saying. You know, like that one had like a history with like ports that came way later, and at that point scores get inflated.
Well,
all I'm saying is Outer Wilds is an 86, and that's absurd. It's one of the best games ever.
It's true.
Well,
I'm just saying Pacific Drive better be looking really
86
damn
is
pretty.
Still points, man. 86 is points. I think it could be an 85 or 86. I think this is going to be one of those indie games that lingers and people talk about for the rest of the year.
I know, but you didn't say 85 or 86.
I mean, you're right.
And that's bold.
I said 89. Whatever.
Well,
that's me, right?
I just because I had requested and was shot down about doing several quick mentions, but I did want to throw out there since we're talking about Steam Next Fest, Children of the Sun. That is a pretty cool little puzzle game.
That's the weird like puzzle game where you're like a sniper running around and it's kind of like on a 2D plane, but you're also like moving in, or I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, you're moving around like a 2.5D plane, like on the perimeter of a level, and you only have one bullet, and but you can manipulate the bullet's trajectory every time you hit an enemy. So it's all about mapping out exactly where the enemies are, their patrol patterns, and then getting them at just the right patrol moment to kill them all.
So the puzzle, so like how to chain all the bullets together in one shot.
Can you hit President Kennedy in the head and then also hit Governor Connolly in the wrist, like in the front seat?
Yes, there's probably going to be a mod level like that. Yeah.
The magic bullet.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's also a Devolver. That's one of those like weird Devolver digital joints, right?
Yeah, it is.
Legitimately, what's actually happening right now? We're just talking about cool upcoming games.
We're rapid firing quick mentions from Steam Next Fest.
No, what we're doing is naming potential things to bid on.
I only played one Steam Next Fest demo while I was away, and that was Dungeonborn. No, it was Dungeonborn, which is that game that's doing Dark and Darker. And I don't know what the difference between this and Darker and Darker is. I think the only difference is this one has like a wizard that you can play. I don't know.
Dark and Darker had a wizard.
So
well, that was the fucking point. No, it was fun, but like I played the demo like the first day it was up, and there was already people with like heavy builds who were just like murdering me everywhere I went. It was sad.
Sounds about right.
Oh, it's PvP. Oh, okay.
It's PvEVP, PvPvE.
Too many P's. All right, so. But by the way, Chris, I didn't necessarily mean to shoot you down on the quick mentions. I said maybe some of those would be better left to the 4-player minute because we do have a lot to talk about. And speaking of which, let's talk about we're only gonna probably fit in like maybe one, maybe two games in this first segment. So like, why don't we start with? Hey, Crispy, you ready to talk about Suicide
Why
Squad?
do you always want to start with my game? Okay, we'll talk about Suicide Squad.
Because we love you, Crispy.
I don't fucking even know where to begin with Suicide Squad.
I thought I was like doing you a favor. Maybe I wasn't.
No. This is good. Let's get it out there. Let's have the talk.
Let's have the talk.
Listen, the first thing I'm gonna say is that if you are just not into games of service game.
No. I can go for the first and last thing.
No. Did we just lose him?
It's perfect. Oh,
he
man.
He can probably hear us. Oh, fuck. We might have to start. We have to try this again.
Hello.
Oh, we can hear you. Okay, there you go.
David Zaslav is assassinating Crispy's.
The timing was perfect.
It was pretty good.
I don't know what the last thing.
Go.
What was the last thing you heard?
Games as a service.
Yeah, games as a service. If you are against the concept, if you don't like games as a service games, if you're like coming to this game as a sequel to the Batman Arkham verse, like I don't think this game's gonna do it for you. I don't think this game is very games as a service. I mean, it is honestly like the game that I'm comparing it to the most in terms of like layout of the actual like game world and what you're doing in it is Diablo 4. They're both kind of like that same thing where it's like a map, it's an open map, and you like go around, you do activities and missions, and you do stuff, right? My other instinct is to compare it to Destiny. But mostly in the things that like I think Destiny does better than this game.
Which is not entirely surprising.
Honestly, like before we even get into the discussion, because everybody already hates this game. Nobody's like happy that this exists. Nobody was excited about it. Everybody fucking hates this game. It is really fun. Like it is very fun to play. The stuff I'm doing here is really fun. Once you get a grasp on what's actually like fucking going on, it is super cool. Like there's stuff going on in the moment-to-moment gameplay that's very like, okay, I can see the Rocksteady in this. You know what I mean? It's everything else that's like the problem, I guess.
Right.
And I don't know. This is such a difficult conversation because half of the discourse around this game is just kind of like steeped in the fact that it is a DC product and like you just can't talk about DC anything anymore. Like DC fans are just like,
well, fuck the discourse.
Off the fucking rails. Like a lot of the discourse around
DC,
this game,
or is it?
No,
it's because it's a follow-up to Arkham. Like it's an Arkham.
No. I mean, it's both. It's both because you got to understand. It's not just the Arkham baggage hanging over this head. It's now also the like. This is what most people are considering to be Kevin Conroy's like final performance. It's not his actual final performance, but it's like. I think there's maybe one other thing where he did voice. I don't know if he was playing Batman
actually
though.
Two. There's two other projects that he
right. But this was the discourse was like this is Kevin Conroy's like farewell to Batman, right? Like
it's also like they couldn't have known that when they were making it. You know
well, I know, and that's why it's a fucking horrible conversation to have, right? Because it was literally just bad luck in that regard. Like it's awful, and like they do this like tribute at the end of the credits to Kevin Conroy.
Did you finish?
Yeah, I finished the story, but like we're talking about games of service. You don't finish. Like there's not. You get to end game. I'm in the end game now.
You're edging.
Like, yeah. It's wild. Like it's really. So like you can.
What's your in-game boomerang?
You shut like. That is such a fuck you, Brad. Like my like the hate around this game is like spread across like video game practices, like creative differences with like weird nerds who just like don't like the idea that like the Justice League are the bad guys in this game, to like the complete disconnect in tone in tone between the Arkham
This
games
Arkham.
and this game. Like very different. Like the entire attitude of the game is completely different. And like the Justice League throughout this game are really like kind of propped up as like these are the fucking goobers you got to take out. Like they kind of suck. Go kill them. Like, you know what I mean? So there's that little bit of aspect to it. And like even like,
but I mean, it's a Suicide Squad game.
It's a Suicide Squad game. I know. Yes, it is.
It's like throwing a fit because the Suicide Squad movie has a different tone than the Batman, which
fucking
is
miracle. Yeah, but like, yes, but
those
then,
are technically different universes.
Then you're like, yeah, then your argument is that like, well, this was the Arkham universe. This was based around Batman, and like to just like continue it in a Suicide Squad game. I don't know. I don't know. It's a pointless conversation. It doesn't mean anything. For me, for my part, the fact that a Suicide Squad game exists, the fact that there's a game where I can play as like Captain Boomerang is incredible. Like I did not ever think I would live in that world, and in that regard, I think it's awesome and they nailed it, and I love it so much. I love the gameplay. I love like the traversal mechanics. The traversal in this game is like even like I don't know. I think it's better than.
It's giving me Crackdown vibes a little bit.
I think it's better than the Arkham games. Like
it's very
like
Twitch, like high skill ceiling, right?
There's a high skill ceiling to it. Like, and the different characters kind of have different skill ceilings. Like Harley Quinn is the hardest to do, because she uses like the grappling hook and like acrobatics and stuff like that. But when it clicks, you're like, this is crazy good. Like in this footage right here, I'm playing as Deadshot, and like flying around with Deadshot's backpack or jetpack, and like the number of different ways you can use the jetpack and how you control it and how you control yourself in flight and how you go from like this action flight gameplay into shooting is incredible. Like it's so fucking cool. It is one of the coolest like jetpacks I've ever seen in a video game.
Well, that's promising.
It's so cool. It is so fucking cool. I love it so much. And I have a hard time of choosing between him and Boomerang as my favorite, because Boomerang's is that like he has a gauntlet that like taps into the Speed Force, so he throws his boomerang and then he like basically like kind of does a flash run to the boomerang and catches it, right? But that means that like you run up walls, you run super fast. Like you can even do this thing where like after you come out of one of those little warps, you hold and just like do like a flash run for a while, and it's so sick. And it reminds me of those conversations we had back in the day about like what would a Flash video game look like in an Arkham universe setting. And it's like a lot of stuff that I couldn't even figure out how you would do that and still capture that like fantasy of having Flash powers. They did really well with Boomerang here. Just like I think that Deadshot's backpack, or God, why do I keep saying backpack? His jetpack isn't just like an ability to fly. It also like captures the fantasy of a jetpack, like of how flying with a jetpack would be different than flying like, you know, Superman flies. You know what I mean? Like you have to manage your heat. You have all these different like maneuvers to kind of keep you airborne while your jets are cooling down. It like propels you up unless you're like angling in a certain way. You know, like it's really cool.
Does he got his snack for reading time in his backpack?
What?
Did you, when you talk about the jetpack, did you play Dark Void back in the day, Crispy?
I did, and I liked Dark Void for that reason.
This is a better jetpack?
Better. This is better.
Yeah, I like okay. All right.
Better. This is way better. Yeah, so like being the Suicide Squad running around Metropolis, which also Metropolis is another like huge high point in this city or in this game. I think about like the design of Gotham in Arkham Knight and how just like absolutely peak that was. That was like a completely like stylized, like not super realistic, but also not completely like gonzo fantasy version of like what Gotham City would be like.
Right.
It like the city had a character to its skyline, and like it felt like a place as you were moving through it. The Metropolis is like that, and like maybe even a little more. Like the design of Metropolis is fucking wild. Like I think people who maybe don't read Superman comics kind of forget sometimes that like Metropolis is supposed to be the city of tomorrow, right? It's supposed to not just be like a city, but like kind of like a shining example of what what 20th century city design could be, right? Like they have like these like EV charging stations for like electric cars all over the place on the roofs of buildings. And like the first time I saw it, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's so stupid. How do you get a car up here? It's because they have flying cars. Like, they're like, you'll find parking spaces with like cars that look like 1950s cars that have like these angled like hover wheels. It's so wild. It's that kind of stuff that I'm just like, yes. This is
Question
great.
about the city. Does it?
I
does
love
it?
that the world design. I heard there might be like Riddler trophies in this. Is that?
Oh, they're with Riddler trophies everywhere. So like
Wait,
the
are
Riddler's
they actual Riddler trophies or just the equivalent of the Riddler trophies?
No. So like the Riddler's involvement in the game is there are Riddler trophies, as in like they're just
puzzles.
Oh no, we're losing him again.
It's okay. Well, let's vamp. We'll come back.
Okay. All right. Wait, I can hear him again.
Okay. So.
Oh my god, he's still frozen, but I can hear him.
Are there like puzzles?
So these Riddler trophies. Riddle me this, Crispy. How, when you're trying to get a trophy, like in the Arkham games, you had to solve a small puzzle in the environment, an environmental puzzle, if you will. And then once you solved it, you gained a trophy that was shaped like the question mark.
Oh, he's back.
Yes.
And I love that shit. I love that shit so much.
This is not like that. This is more like I don't know, Crackdown, where you like are just like running around finding orbs. They're just like trophies stuck everywhere.
That has been the most apt comparison I've heard so far about this game, is that it's a lot like Crackdown in a lot of ways.
It is, and it has that kind of arcadey like gameplay to it. But like the thing with the Riddler trophies, the thing that kind of like what?
I feel like there's an elephant in the room because I'm hearing all this stuff, and then I'm watching. I'm
getting to it. I'm getting to it. Brad,
let him cook. Let him cook, Brad.
Oh God. So like Riddler trophies are just kind of stuck around. The thing that confused me about them at first is that like now they're physical objects in the world that are affected by physics. So like you can find a Riddler trophy stuck to the bottom of like a tower somewhere, and you have to like literally fly up to pick it up. But if like an explosion goes off or someone shoots it, it will fly off. Like it will just fly away somewhere. And then like you have to like find it. Like I've lost Riddler trophies that way before, and then like had to come back. They reset once you leave though. And then I had to like come back later and find them again. The other thing that Riddler does is traversal challenges. So there's like all these traversal challenges that are just, race using this character's traversal method, and you unlock stuff for doing that. And then they've got the more kind of like traditional riddles where every section of the city has like one or two riddles, and you just scan something in the environment and it gives you the completion, right?
Okay.
Now, to Brad's point, the gameplay of controlling the squad is very fun. Moving around, shooting guns, very fun. The enemies that you're fighting, not great. Not good.
Fodder?
This is, well, fodder, but also like,
what are they? Now I'm just thinking about like what if you're not fighting?
Okay,
one of the members of the Justice League? What are they?
The conceit of the game is that Brainiac has invaded. Brainiac has invaded Metropolis,
right?
And he's essentially killed everyone in the city or captured them and turned them into like Brainiac drones, and that's what you're fighting. You're fighting these like weird Brainiac assimilated.
Which kind of answers my question
drones
that I was gonna ask, which is the city in just like a constant state of chaos and turmoil? Okay.
Yeah. So like the whole city has fallen and is just like completely subsumed by Brainiac's forces. You and like the Argus like support staff that are helping you are holed up in the Hall of Justice at the bottom of the map, and it's just like go out and retake the city, so there's not like there aren't civilians standing around everywhere. Instead, what you'll see a lot of is like civilians that are like turned to ash but are still just like frozen there, and if you touch them they just like
Damn.
like War of the Worlds kind of shit. but the enemies, there's a lot of variety of different enemies, and they all do different things. What is not so great about them is that the legibility on like what you're fighting in the moment is not great. You kind of have to like see what they're doing to know how to like fight them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think like this is kind of where I was talking about Destiny earlier, where like I think about like what Destiny does really well, and what Destiny did really well is the enemy design. Not only was the gunplay in that game just like incredible, but the enemies you were fighting were also really good. Like the differences between the Cabal and the Vex and the Taken and the Fallen and the Hive were like, they were completely different from one another. You could tell from a mile away like what you were fighting, and they all acted completely.
Acted completely.
Yeah, I mean,
keeping us in suspense.
And just fighting the same weirdo motherfuckers over and over again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like it gets like really hectic and chaotic. Some of the enemy design, like some of the enemy gimmicks, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, for instance, there's like snipers all the time, and the snipers, like my instinct with a game that is like really vertical and you have like these really great traversal powers and you're like fighting snipers, is to close the distance and get up in their face, right? But they literally, like, when you get to a certain distance from the snipers, you can't damage them anymore, and they teleport somewhere else.
What?
So like you have to engage them at long range. It's annoying and I don't like it. But it is what it is.
So
yeah,
I wanted to ask, like, the enemy design, like, so I may be misinformed about this, but what I understand is that so each district of Metropolis is controlled by a member of the Justice League, and the enemies that you fight use their sort of power sets of that boss character. Is that right?
That's kind of right. It's not really. Like, it's like, first of all, the city is not split up into sections that are controlled, but like it kind of is. Like there's I don't know. It doesn't feel that way when you're playing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm in Flash's territory. All these enemies are Flash enemies. It feels like the story's telling me that Flash is the next enemy I gotta go fight. So I'm gonna run around the city, level up, gear up, and then I'm gonna go fight the Flash. And then after the Flash is dead, Brainiac is like, okay, well now I've got these like Flash powered, like Speed Force powered enemies that I'm gonna send after you. So then like these Speed Force, like you can get them all zipping around here. These Speed Force goons are just kind of like a normal part of the game at this point. And then like when you fight Green Lantern, there's like all these Green Lantern helicopters that show up that like can make missiles and shit and throw them at you. But like honestly, there are also Batman ones, but I don't think I've really seen them outside of like one. I like,
that's because they're one with the knight.
If I'm fighting Batman enemies, I do not register them as being Batman. The Flash enemies, that's like there's just one type of Flash enemy. The Green Lantern enemies is like basically just those helicopters, and like that's it. There's not. I haven't seen any Superman related one. It feels like maybe at one point that was like split into districts, and then like the enemies would be coded.
No.
Cybertron has fallen.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We must get the Allspark to Crispy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, we probably just need to.
Okay.
I do.
Oh, there he's back.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you're back.
Okay, so I do want to ask, if you are no longer a robot.
I think he's still a robot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe asking questions is not. We're not at that. Maybe we're kind of.
Maybe we should take a break.
There are
and
some
come
final
back and
thoughts.
then
Yeah, so we could take a break.
we can iron out the kinks here, and then we can finish this conversation on the other side. How's that sound?
Love me.
All right,
think
we'll be back.
it's
Well,
We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna take a
Alright.
short break. We'll iron out some of these technical difficulties, and then we'll finish our chat about Suicide Squad on the other side, and we'll talk Persona and Helldivers 2, and of course we'll wrap
and
up.
Tondoko Island.
Yes, and that one. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, so just final thoughts on Suicide Squad.
You had some.
I think that I think that. Okay, so it's a looter shooter. I think it does the shooting very well. I think it does the looting very poorly. I don't like the loot in the game because it doesn't. I mean, like, it feels statistically impactful when you get something really good, but like,
right.
The one like it's a third person shoot. Like, I don't know how Destiny gets this more right than they do, but like, Destiny is a first person shooter where you never really look at your character. You look at your character in menus and like in cutscenes and like pre-match, fucking victory poses and shit like that, right? But the transmog rules that game. Like, people are very invested in making their guardian look a certain way and look cool,
other people can see them.
And it's really fucking sick, right, for other people to see, because you do have these big social spaces where you're running around like the tower, or you're running around on planets and other people can see you, and it's like really fucking cool to like look cool, right? This game has cool costumes and like visual stuff, but there's so little of it, and it's not loot. It's not part of the loot cycle. Like, your loot cycle is 2 weapons, a grenade, and then like 5 other things that that don't have any visual representation on the character. Like, you have a shield mod, you have a neck bomb mod, you have a lucky charm, you have a traversal mod, and all of this is loot that isn't like represented. It doesn't change the way you look in any way, but it's a third person superhero game that you're supposed to be playing with other people.
So it definitely feels like it should.
It feels like it should, but like the costumes that are in the game, you unlock mostly by doing like Riddler traversal challenges. And I think I've unlocked most of everything that's in the game, except for the stuff they're selling in the shop, which the shop is just selling the stuff that came with the deluxe edition. Yeah. So they're not even like selling new stuff yet, right? Which they probably won't until season 1 hits. So
when you say selling, you mean for like real money, or
for
like...
real money, for Luther coins, which is their premium currency. Yes,
motherfucker.
Of course, of course, it would be Luther coins.
That's in the game, and that's not going away. That's the whole reason for the game to exist. Take it or leave it. Helldivers has that too. All right, so everything has that now. But yeah, I've not once been tempted to buy a single Luther coin, and that is rare for me. Like, I buy Overwatch skins and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're not tempted, that's a sign.
Right.
I feel like in a game like this, they've done something wrong.
So, like, I do think the story has a good setup. It has a good premise. And the characters are good. The plot is very whatever. Like, the actual unfolding of events is very, like, whatever. And it leaves you in a place story-wise that's kind of like, okay, like, whatever. Like basically...
Like
yeah, I mean, basically, you deal with the whole Brainiac invasion of Metropolis, and then you kind of fix it, but not really. But like, oh, this is DC, so the multiverse is involved. So now, like, the different seasons are going to be like traveling to different versions of Earth and fighting Brainiac there, because there's actually a whole bunch of Brainiacs. Like, you know what I mean?
Each season's going to introduce like a new playable character. Like, the first one that's announced is the Joker.
Yeah, they've set up 4 seasons already, I think. So in a couple weeks, when season 1 starts, they're adding the Joker, which will presumably come with its own like story content, and I don't know like what the Earth is gonna be like for that.
Who's
but
voicing the Joker in this game?
I don't fucking know. I don't think it's anybody. And I don't think it's anyone that we would recognize.
So it's not like the Arkham Joker?
No, it's a one from another.
Hamill.
Oh, no, I know, but I mean, like, the character they're introducing, is it
No.
Okay.
In fact, it doesn't seem like any of the new characters they're introducing are the original Arkham version. In fact, the Deadshot that you play is not the same Deadshot from the Arkham games, and they explain that in this game. And it's the multiverse. It's just all the multiverse.
The new Joker is modeled more like Cesar Romero's from the 60s. So
I don't know about that. The new Joker is like a younger Joker. In my mind, he seems more like the Trickster from The Flash. but like,
okay,
yeah, it's a younger, newer Joker from a different Earth that's being
Gotcha.
added to the squad, and then a data miner. Like, there's already a huge leak of like all the content that's coming out in like the next 4 to 10 seasons. The character they're adding after that is going to be Mrs. Freeze. It's going to be Nora Freeze from a different Earth where
That's
she
interesting.
became Mr. Freeze instead of Victor. Um, and then I'm unclear on what the other ones are. I think Deathstroke's in there somewhere. And then another character that's just like a big whoever, like whatever. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, and then I don't know. So like my thoughts on the game right now are like I had a lot of fun with it. I'm not super motivated to keep playing it until season 1 comes out. I do really want to play season 1 when that comes out. I want to see what the actual
long-term
like
game is.
live support is going to be like, right? Yeah, like what's the big picture here? And see how the Joker plays cuz he looks completely different from any of the other characters. I think people who have like philosophical differences with this game, that absolutely makes sense to me. Um, the fact that this game's even a third-person shooter is weird. Is kind of weird. The
That's
fact that
everybody's
like
reaction to it for sure.
the fact that like I'm playing as I mean like if you're playing as Harley Quinn or Deadshot, that's one thing. But playing as King Shark, but you have a gun, kind of weird. Playing as Captain Boomerang and like you're Captain Boomerang, but like with a gun is really weird. Like if Captain Boomerang was running around with a gun in the comics, that would be like what? Like
Yeah.
But I don't know. Whatever. That's just what this game is, I guess. So that's what it is. Um,
Hey, to be honest, it's out in the wild now, and the reception is kind of what I expected it to be. But at the same time, like I've seen lots of people say they're enjoying it. It's just like it's one of the situations. It's going to be forever married to people's impressions of the Arkham series,
yeah.
and that's kind of a
If you're
bummer.
coming at this as like
that's part of it.
I mean, like, you guys know I'm a big DC fan to the point that, like, I fucking hate people who like DC because because I'm so possessive over it. So this game, like, in that regard, was like a real win for me.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of it is really cool to be like, oh, wow, I'm playing this fucking Captain Boomerang. Like, that's so stupid. I love it. But yeah, I don't know. If you're not into games as services or like third person shooters, or you were looking for like a really meaningful, like emotional, impactful follow up to where they left off Batman's story from the Arkhamverse,
This ain't it.
this ain't
Yeah.
gonna do it for you. I mean, at least not yet. I mean, the idea behind a games as service game is that like the story's gonna continue. Where the story's at right now is you just like murdered the Justice League and like punked them all and like Captain Boomerang tries to take a piss on Flash's corpse and shit. Like like it's not like a very it's a very different treatment than what like some people would want, especially people who are like really into like Zack Snyder's Justice League, maybe, like
Yeah.
where they treat these characters with some kind of like weird, untouchable reverence.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that. But if you're into like third-person shooters and cool traversal mechanics and stuff, pick it up on sale. Like that stuff is
And
legitimately
there will
fun.
be sales. Let's be.
That stuff is legitimately fun. Like, yeah, it's really cool.
Do we have any sense of like how this game is doing?
I think it's too early to know how it's doing financially yet.
I don't think it's doing great.
Like Steam concurrence or
like
anything
Steam
like
concurrents were at like 12,000 the other day or something.
Yeah, it's not very good.
But
who knows?
Steam, but the PC port in particular was like having real problems.
This is
okay.
You understand? This is a big deal. Like in terms of like its effect on the industry. This is the kind of thing that is going to make publishers have big boardroom meetings about like, should we keep doing this kind of game? I mean, this was a long time. This was very expensive. This could affect Rocksteady, which fucking sucks. Fun game or no, like this is a studio everyone likes, and doesn't want to see, end up like so many others. My God, like
I mean, the whole industry right now is a shit show. So
like and because of games like this, honestly, in some cases, like look what just happened with Redfall. Look what happened with Crystal Dynamics and Marvel's Avengers and BioWare and Anthem and stuff. I mean, like they're not.
All right. So in the interest of not
I'm
following,
glad Crispy's happy, but man, if this
Yeah,
thing
I'm not
doesn't
happy.
also
Like
doesn't
I'm not.
well,
that's the thing is like
you're happier than the people who didn't buy the game.
I still feel the other side of it too. I still feel the whole like this is a weird direction for the industry to be taking, and I hate that a franchise that I love is now being offered up as like the fucking sacrificial goat to that.
Yeah.
Well, there's just
I don't
on the pile, really. I mean,
but it could be
yeah.
the straw that broke the camel's back, is what you're saying,
this
Brad.
one's the thing is.
But
this
I
was
also
game.
I also don't hate games as a service as like a concept. Like I play games as service games that are fun. I like games that continually update and evolve and are supported. Like
I have played 2,000 hours worth of games as a service titles.
But I also have to like reconcile that with the idea that like the business practices that are required to make something like that successful are not great.
No, they're not. They're
like
terrible. Gambling. I mean, it's
all right. So in the interest of not going straight into another games as a service game, because we technically have 2 this week, let's switch gears a little bit. Brad, Nolan, do y'all want to talk about like a dragon?
I can. Oh well. So, but I guess Nolan kind of did before the show, and he's still kind of in the.
We were talking a little bit before the show, and yes, Brad, I do want to hear your thoughts on the game. What we were talking about before the show was I was having a bit of a complaint. If anyone listening has played Yakuza games before, from time to time they can be a little bit slow to start. They're establishing a story, setting up characters or whatnot. And I'm about 3 hours into Yakuza's like a Dragon Infinite. And the game hasn't actually started yet. And it seems like what they're potentially trying to do is bridge Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth stories, but they're doing it in a roundabout way that I think is way too over the top. I really do think the game should have kind of started first and then had this kind of interspersed. I don't know where it's going yet, but to Brad's point, he had mentioned before we started recording that it's just you're kind of like, you just get to the game, man. Just come on. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a lot more long in the tooth than any other Yakuza game has been so far. None of it's bad. Well, sorry, yes, Yakuza 3. None of it's bad. It's just more of like it's almost like the ending of a Return of the King. Like you keep thinking it's about to happen, and then something else happens. You keep thinking Yakuza 7 or Yakuza like a
Return of the King is
Yakuza
pretty good though.
And this game is good too. But like I said, every time you think the game's kind of about to start, they do something else that's like kind of like
it's not.
Yeah.
It's poorly paced, and with the marketing, and I was touching on this as well. You see all the crazy shit. You see Hawaii, and you see all the crazy shit that you're gonna do. The fucking job classes, Cowboy Kiryu and shit, and all the crazy like mini games. And I'm about to talk about the big one. I guess, are you already looking at footage of it?
Not yet.
No, I was waiting for you to mention Dondoko Island.
So, well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, and I was feeling it too early on, and I played fucking so many of these games, but it was like, oh man, I want to get to this shit because it looks so fun. And when I finally get there and it opens up, it is really cool.
There's the light source on this. Sorry.
What?
I'm watching your character run through the night. I'm just like, where is I can't see the flashlight. Okay, it must be attached to the front of him or something. Sorry, keep going.
So yeah, but I got to that. All I'll say to Nolan is stick through, because you are going to get to the cool shit, and it just takes a long time. I mean, this is a much longer game than the Like a Dragon or the RPG games are longer than your average Yakuza games, and I think maybe that's why they're kind of stretching out or taking their time early on. But you get to the fun shit. And Dondoko Island, once you get there, you can like do it all. You don't have to go back to the main game, get to the next chapter before you can progress. And you don't have to wait a day of real time because Tom Nook is a bitch. You get there and that is just the game now. You just play Dondoko Island, which is, I guess I buried the lead here, is an Animal Crossing. They put an Animal Crossing inside the new Yakuza game. And let me tell you, it's pretty fun. It's
but
pretty
is
fun.
it like like villagers and stuff show up and live in your island?
So you might see some of that here in a segundo. So like Animal Crossing, you're even the last one, especially. I guess they use that as a model. You're kind of going around, you're catching bugs, you're catching fish, you're destroying rocks and trees to get wood and stuff, materials to like actually craft things. They have like a DIY workbench, and then there's you can buy stuff, and you're upgrading your tools, so your nail bat or whatever, like destroys things quicker, and there's the washbucklers or whatever, who are these evil pirate guys who are dumping trash on the island, and you're trying to clean up the island, and so you're occasionally like getting into fights with them, and this is all real time. It's no longer, this game does not resemble the main game at all anymore. It's got this pretty like basic like real-time combat system. Basically the swings you do to like knock down trees and rocks and shit and trash is what you're doing to fight guys. But and there's so much to do. And you don't just craft like little things, you craft like buildings and shit. And it's not just buildings, it's like a porno store, because you want to up the sleaziness rating of your island, because you're trying to appease the
sleazy people who come.
You got Master Roach on your island, you're trying to appease him.
Because you're placing down properties to attract visitors to stay like for 3-day like vacations. And the thing is, early on, you can only build like a tent, right? So you can only attract like
porno tent,
like a bum,
campers?
It's like, so you don't have a cute little villager. It's like a homeless guy, right? and like literally a guy, like freeloader, and it's just like this like dude who looks like he's gonna sleep on your couch. He's like, yeah, man, visiting the island, or it starts very like much like that, and they have like desires, and you're like making them souvenirs and giving them souvenirs, and you have like, they're like, oh, make sure you like say hi, greet all of them each day. So I'm going up there like, what's up, giving them the fucking I don't know, the cool Hawaii thing to do according to this game, just to try to give them increase their ratings, because I'll make more money. Like they're basically paying for that vacation, and it's all about that currency and getting more materials, and it's like a very addictive loop, and like you just lose time. And Malia, she's been playing with me, and we've been like swap it off, because she plays these kinds of games.
Actual Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth proper.
It's been hours at this point.
So,
but I'm still
quick question, Brad. Is this like the business mini game from the last one? Is this like how one of the ways you're making money on this island?
Yeah. I could tell it's kind of headed in that direction. I'm gonna take a picture in front of my manga shelf, which I made myself. It's absurd the things you can make, like, because it's little things, like you can make like all these different kinds of wooden tables, or like a food truck. It's like, okay, what, I just made a food truck that sells coffee. And like when the people it's so stupid. It's so stupid. The people come to your island for vacation, they'll like walk around, and you'll get little notifications like, oh, this homeless guy like really admired this like little chair that you made, and you go over there, and he's like sitting in the chair, and his approval rating is going up. It's so stupid, but because then he'll go to like, I have a bondage chair, and I found out for whatever reason, like bondage chairs are a really good investment, because they only need so many kinds of materials, and like the return on like popularity and sleaziness.
You just like come home to find someone sitting in your bondage chair.
It is so funny, because I have this long list of shit that I can make, and like I made a standee. Like what the fuck did I just make? It's like a little standee you can like stick your faces through. It's absurd, because I'm looking through all this shit, and I'm looking at all the materials I have, and I'm looking at like my return. It reminds me of, have you ever seen Punch Drunk Love, where he's going through the aisles trying to like find the thing that's going to give him the most return on frequent flyer miles, and he lands on the pudding because it like has a coupon. Like I feel like I'm doing that math, like what can I buy with the least amount of resources that ups this thing, and I I landed on bondage chairs. I don't know, it worked out. But the thing is, it's going to make my island slightly sleazy, but some of my visitors prefer the island to be slightly sleazy. It's so stupid.
What, like a proper Disney park experience.
And the thing is, I'm gamifying it, right? Because I have all this stuff just lined up along the main path because that's going to get the most like they'll just go from thing to thing, like admiring it or sitting on it, So I have, the island's going to get more complex. You can start making like paths and stuff and optimizing the way things are laid out through the island. But right now,
to be an expression of your creativity, Brad.
It'll get to that point, but right now I'm just trying to make money so I can like clear out like areas because the island keeps expanding, and it's so it's just, it's absurd. But it's like
you keep talking about
and like Yakuza games always surprise me like this because I'm like, okay, well they put a jank ass Animal Crossing in here. It's gonna be like a funny for a little bit, right? Or it's gonna be like a cool mild diversion, and then I'll go back to the main story. I'll do some other mini game, but no, like this shit happens all the time. It happens with the management mini game in the last game, the business management in the last game. It happened with like club. The cabaret, right? Stuff. Yeah. And Zero. It's like, no, this is not only like deep, but it's fucking good. Like
it could be its own standalone game.
They thought about like the economy here because like it's always like, oh, one more day, and I'm like, it's like I'm playing a Civ game or something. Like I'm losing time playing this fucking mini game. And again, it doesn't even resemble the main game, which is just like,
Brad's gonna forget how to play the main game. He's gonna go back. He's like, wait a second, how does this control? What is this?
Here's the thing, right? Like I get here and I'm like, all right, Malia, my wife, we're gonna sit down. You love Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley. You play all that bullshit, Disney, Dreamlight Valley, right? And like we're gonna do this. And, like this is both our lanes, man. We're gonna sit down.
Our lanes coming together.
And I get there and I'm like, well, this is cool, but I also know that like if I get a little further in the story, I can unlock the casino. And then once I unlock the casino, I start unlocking all the Persona music, And you can make playlists, like I said last week, make playlists and jam out to the music as you're like beating up, fucking swashbucklers. And I really want to do that. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do one more day. I'm going to hop on my dolphin to swim back to Hawaii.
Wait a second. Is that really?
That's how you get back.
Where's the island? Where's the island?
It's an amazing animation, Nick. You gotta see it.
It's not like a Hawaiian island.
Well, it is, but you gotta get there via dolphin.
Oh my!
It's a small island.
It's not even a pelican flying a seaplane.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it.
It's a dolphin. There's a little boy. So there's like a kid. Like a couple hours into Dondoko Island, all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, there's like this kid here too. And it was just such a weird, like the way they brought up this kid's like, oh, he'll start making souvenirs for you. And I brought him some, the first thing he made was like a seashell bikini. And I'm like, where did this kid even come from? But it's like, I needed souvenirs to give to my guests.
Whose child is this?
That's exactly how the introduction of this happened, of that kid. But so anyways, I kept telling myself, I'm gonna go back to the main island. I'm gonna get a bunch of music. We're gonna come back. And it's been hours now, and I have not gone to get more music. So I'm still listening to like the same bullshit tracks I got when I first got to Hawaii. And it would be so much cooler if I was listening to like Persona music while I did this shit. But I'm addicted. I'm hooked.
So this is definitely an Animal Crossing style experience, but is this also kind of scratching your itch for a Dark Cloud experience in a way?
No, no, it's not. Well, I mean, you're right though. It is very Dark Cloud in the way because you are just dropping buildings and trying to attract people. But but it's not quite. I'm not dungeon crawling to get materials and stuff. Although there are dungeons in this game, like traditional JRPG, like maze-like dungeons with like chests and stuff and like lower floors and it's addictive. Once this game opens up and it cuts you loose and you get your little segue, it's just cool. I mean, I guess you weren't here last week, Krispy, to see like the wild shit of the main game, but it's wild. I can't wait to unlock the cowboy class and shit. Like the specials in this game are fucking insanely special abilities. I was fighting Danny Trejo, crime lord Danny Trejo, which by the way does not phone it in. He's awesome. He does not phone it in. You're always worried about, Hollywood actor, he's gonna phone it in. No, he's giving it his all, just like fucking Beat Takeshi, right? Yakuza 6, whatever. And I'm fighting him, and I'm like, oh, well, he's weak to water. Well, The only move I have that does water damage is the cabbie guy has this move where he like scrubs people down for some reason, like he's washing a car. So I'm literally just got Danny Trejo on the ground with a sponge and the soapy water, and I'm just scrubbing him down with this guy because that's what he's weak to. And I'm like, this game is absurd. It's so absurd, but I love it. But I'm addicted to this shit. It's not. I'm not even playing Yakuza. I'm just playing kind of a weird Animal Crossing.
Sleazy Animal Crossing is what it is.
Better than it should be, and that's always how it just happens. I hate it. I want to play Yakuza, but this is good. It's good.
Yeah,
this game. I want to play this game so bad.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from because I'm in chapter 4 right now, and I just unlocked the Sujimon battles. So like
the Sujimon battles, yeah. You know, there's like gym battle. I mean, there's like you have to fight you have to track down the, what do they call it? It's like the I forget the name. The inconspicuous 4, like the 4.
Oh, instead of the Elite 4.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, they call them. It's weird. It's absurd.
Fucking weird.
That's what this franchise is.
Sujimon. The characters are so weird. I unlocked a Sujimon, which is just a dude in a beach ball, like his head's just sticking out of a beach ball, a giant beach ball. I'm like, what is this shit? It's absurd. It's
it's Mr. Blow Up.
So you know, I told you about last week. You know, the enemy that's like, it's like a Pokemon Caterpillar, but it's, you know, like it's a guy in a sleeping bag, a green sleeping bag. I was in a dungeon and I came across one of those guys, but he was in a silver sleeping bag.
A shiny?
No, not a shiny. Okay. It was a metal slime. It was like it was like a metal slime.
Yeah.
And I recognized it right away. I'm like, as soon as I saw him, and it looked just like the other ones, except he was like chrome. Like, I was like, I bet you this guy is going to be super resistant to damage, and it's going to take forever to kill him, but he's going to give me a ton of experience. And I'm sitting next to my wife, and she's like, yeah, whatever, shut up. And I fight him. It took forever, and I finally killed him. Sure enough, I get a ton of experience, and he was like resistant to all damage. And I'm like, this game gets it. It's cool. But yeah, I'll shut up.
No, that was great. Sleazy Animal Crossing. That is a twist I did not see coming. So that's pretty badass.
Just what is the next fucking thing that the next Yakuza game is going to ape and in some ways completely surpassed? Like, what else is there for them to really do?
I mean, look, they're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna be better than it.
Dude, they're gonna make it. They're gonna make like a Lethal Company, like in the middle of the next Yakuza game.
Maybe it'll be a mode in the next Binary Domain. You know,
maybe it'll be a games as service game.
This series does cool shit, and as much as I love Yakuza, like, why? Let's get a new Binary Domain, damn it! You know,
that would be rad. That game was fantastic.
Better than it had any right to be, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, they made a really good Crazy Taxi mode in this, so
yeah, it's absurd. We saw footage of that last.
Do I have to finish? Do I have to finish Like a Dragon to enjoy this?
Enjoy it.
It's a good game.
What?
It helps to provide context for a lot of what's happening. Yeah.
Davis, first of all, you're not one to answer this question.
You motherfucker.
When someone asks where they should hop in at any point in this series, you are not allowed to answer.
Okay, bitch, I have played 5 Yakuza games now. This is number 6. Get off my dick.
All I'm saying is you having it come from your mouth is ironic. But yeah.
For those just tuning in,
I played.
For those just tuning in, Chris Davis decided to start with Yakuza 6.
Are you really going to finish 7? And
I started it again. I planned on it.
You started it again? No.
No, I started it again because it'd been so long I couldn't remember what the fuck was going on.
Watch a YouTube video or something.
There we go.
I mean, or just play. I mean, they're all fun, but like, let me tell you, I feel like maybe I didn't go into much detail, and I'm not going to go into detail now. But like, the battle system in this one is much better than it was in that last one. Having the ability to move around and line up, like kind of the way enemies will like ping pong into each other now. That kind of just happened in the last game. Now you can like line it up, and when you get like
strategic about it,
and he has like he can actually swap between his 3 different stances, and like some of them will like actually like expand the radius at which he can move, and like the rush down lets him doesn't do as much damage, but you can hit twice. But you combine with that with the fact that like you can move further, you can position yourself to get like back attacks and then follow-ups. It's like weirdly good. Like, Nick, we can transition to Persona 3. That's a series that's like, really polished and stylish and famous, but like I already think like this series has surpassed it in terms of like turn-based like combat mechanics, and like they just started doing this shit.
Thanks for setting it up.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about Persona 3. Oh man. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to talk a ton about it because obviously Persona 3 is a game that's been out for ages and ages and ages, right? This is Persona 3 Reload though and by the way, quick reminder, Brad, I don't know if you were serious about this, but Brad and I casually made an agreement or a bet that I can't reach.
Oh, I never did that.
I was like, let's turn it into a game. Because the joke is that I don't play Japanese games. Just everyone keeps trying to make it about JRPGs. It's really just about Japanese games in general. So he's like, I'm gonna turn it into a point system, and like every Japanese.
It's gonna be a point system. This is gonna be good. Okay, let me set up real quick. I'm not gonna spend much time. So by the end of the year, Nick has to obtain 10 Japanese points.
Is that what they're called?
We're calling it. So it's gonna be a point system, right? And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna play like Final Fantasy VII, but I guess I shouldn't count because
everyone's gonna play a Final Fantasy VII."
Yeah, he's gonna play. He's gonna finish it. 1 point. That shit's only worth 1 point. But if he like branches out a little bit and like plays, like Persona, I would say is worth more points because he always plays these games. But like the chance of him finishing,
I only get the points if I finish it.
Finish. So like Persona, if he actually finishes, I would say it'd be worth like 5 points. Ain't no fucking way he's gonna finish that game, right? He's never finished.
It's a long game.
Yeah,
I'm trying, man.
Like, if he plays like a Trails game from like Falcom, that's like 10 points by itself. There's no fucking way, right? So I'll come up with a list of like the various like points that, as long as he hits 10 points by the end of the year, I'll give it to him, right? He branched out. He played his Japanese games like he said he was going to, but like finishing like Dragon's Dogma 2, you're gonna get 2 points at best for that. So I'll make a whole list. You can path out your year of
people keep trying like, no, but like there are like the funny thing is like the joke is that like I don't play these games, but like there's quite a few Japanese games that I'm interested in trying. I can't promise I'll finish them all, but like
do you know how many points you get for the game being on your shelf? 0, Nick. You get 0.
How much does he earn for Unicorn Overlord?
Unicorn Overlord is one of the games I want to try.
There's no fucking way, right? Unicorn Overlord, I'd say like 5 points. There's no way. He has to get through these games. He can't just try them. He gets no points for just trying them.
Hey, well, like
add to the list East 10. They're just about to announce the English release.
I'm not gonna play East.
That's a 5-pointer if I had to say anything.
Not a 5-pointer. Any Falcom, if he finishes a Falcom game,
10 points.
Like 9, East is 9 points. A Trails game is like 10 points. Like absolutely, he wins.
Don't worry, I have no intention of trying to go for those.
Literally, if Nick finishes a Trails game, he doesn't need to play any other Japanese game. I will forgive him but he's not
ever
going to
again.
do that.
I never have to play a Japanese game ever again.
If he's got he could commit, right? And like, what is he?
I'm already committed. I'm waiting for you to make this list.
He gets the props, but he also like plays a great game, right?
Hey, let's talk about Persona for a second. Let's talk about Persona for a second. All right, I'm about 10 hours into Persona 3 Reload.
Let's say 4 points if you finish.
Persona?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
This was not quite as long as 3 and 5.
That's actually really good to hear.
4 and 5. I mean, it's long. It is long. But 4 and 5, especially the Golden Edition and Royal Editions, they just go on.
Yeah, and I know. So real quick, Nolan, Persona 3 has kind of always been your favorite of the Personas?
Persona 3 FES was my introduction to the Persona series.
So what is the difference between the base and the FES? I've never really
extra content. FES has it's essentially like some DLC added in. I don't remember everything.
Gotcha.
It has like a new character, a new story. I mean, it's like
correct.
You know how Golden and Royal add in a bunch of extra stuff.
Well, I know in theory, but I've never gotten far enough to experience that.
Well, the big controversial thing with this game is that they finally remade Persona, which has not been super accessible to like all these new Persona fans with 5 and even 4, right? Stuck on and there, it's always been weird, right? It's like kind of like the Final Fantasy Tactics thing, right? Where like the PSP version doesn't have the fest stuff, but it does have, you're able to play as like a female main character, which is super cool, right? And then this game comes out and it doesn't have like either of those. It doesn't have the fest content. It doesn't have the female main character option. And it's like, okay,
you're just playing
you remade this game, but why
Persona
did you
3.
leave all this out? Sure enough, we found out modern day Atlas practices with this shit. They're gonna sell that shit as DLC, and it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah. So what I can say about this remake of Persona 3, and I don't really have the point of reference that some of y'all probably do, having played the original. But what I can say is that this is a very, very nice looking, smooth running remake of that game. Because sometimes you forget, like when I first saw shots of this, I was like, oh, it just looks like a Persona game. What's the big deal? But I forget what the original Persona game, Persona 3 looked like. This game is slick as hell. And everything like you transition from like social stuff to Tartarus to combat to studying at your desk to like, all this stuff you transition, like stuff that probably took like an annoying amount of time to like load back in the day takes like, it's almost instantaneous in this game. And everything just like, it's one of those games that like once you start playing, after about 15-20 minutes you kind of get into a rhythm and it's just easy to just keep going. And I really, really like that about it. And like the slickness, especially of the combat in this game, is, man, it feels good. And not to mention, man, I don't really know
what
like,
good, but it's shallow as fuck. Right? I mean, that's kind of the Shin Megami Tensei thing, unfortunately.
Yeah. It is shallow, maybe by today's standards, I suppose, but like it's just got a really remarkable flow to it. And like there is a certain amount of complexity in like the turn-based combat, in like if you can identify their weakness and then like knock down all the enemies, then you do like an all-in attack where everybody attacks. Or if you hit a weakness, you gain another move, and you can either use that move to do another attack, or you can shift over and pass it to another person on your team, and then they can do another attack. And then just quality of life things too. And I'm not sure, I don't think this was in the original, but one of my favorite things is you can push the start button or whatever on the controller, and it'll just trigger this like super fast pace. Like all your characters do nothing but their basic melee attack, but it goes like boom, 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 boom.
A lot of this is from like Persona 5 and 4. Like the original Persona 3 when it came out, like you didn't even control your party members. It was just you.
Yeah.
No, they added a lot from what I've seen and what I've heard. Yeah, so I can't remember if that was in 4 or 5, Brad, but yeah, the ability to so essentially kind of auto battle with very basic attacks.
It's just
that's a big quality of life thing. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's one of those things where if you're going up against new enemies, it's not very fast, right? But it's when you're doing it.
No, you can do it on anything. Really? The trade-off is like if you only want to do it against enemies you're confident you can take out.
Correct. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Attacks. Yeah.
It'll still go I mean, it'll still like move as quickly as it would against like a new enemy, but you are still running like you may do a physical attack.
It's snappy. I mean, that was like that in 5.
It's I mean, and yeah, so like a lot of this quality of life stuff is probably stuff they learned from feedback in 5 and stuff that just worked really well. So like, why not implement it here? And that stuff's really, really, really great. The
big change again that you wouldn't notice is like they really this game like all takes place in one dungeon, the Tartarus, and it was like a really basic dungeon design in that first one.
It was like very simplistic,
repetitive and simplistic, and they really, from what I understand, they really kind of overhauled that and made it much more like interesting, complex.
I mean, it still seems pretty simplistic here, but it felt simplistic in Persona 5 to me as well. Like I just feel like the dungeons in these games have always felt kind of simplistic.
The original Persona 3 dungeon design compared to like Persona 5's dungeon design is like night and day. Like Persona 5 is way more complex than the way Persona 3 used to be. So it was literally just hallway, room, and it always looked the same. I mean, it's a big difference. So.
Yeah, and I'm also playing. It's worth mentioning. I suppose I'm playing a certain amount of this on like Steam Deck, like when I lay in bed or whatever. It's weird. Like on Steam Deck, you really need to turn off, and this is just PSA. If you're playing this on Steam Deck, turn off the ray tracing setting, which is not called ray tracing in the menu, is on by default. So the game runs like shit until you turn that off. But once you do it, it runs like fucking silky smooth. But yeah, man, this game's cool. The only other thing I'll say so far, again, only 10 hours in, so as far as on Persona standards, pretty fucking early.
Yeah, it's not. Who's your waifu?
I mean, I don't have a. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't really have a waifu yet.
It takes a little while before in Persona 3. It's a while before you start like courting anyone in the game.
And there's only 2 ladies in my party, and they're the people you meet very, very, very beginning of the game. And I mean, well, I am kind of befriending the leader or the manager of the track team. She's not a party member, but she is, I guess, someone you can maybe potentially date. She's pretty cool.
You've been chatting up any cougars on WoW?
I've played one session of WoW. Is it a cougar that I'm talking to? I don't know.
She's definitely not a kid at your school.
Okay, that's cool. See, I'm kind of waiting for like the waifu stuff to kick in because obviously that's a big part of the experience, and I get into that. I will say this. Having never seen or played the original Persona 3, but always known, like, the big thing about Persona 3 is they summon their personas by shooting themselves in the head. And I always kind of thought it was like, okay, when you prepare like a big special attack or something, you do it. No, it is every fucking attack. And it's like
an evoker in it. Come on.
Yeah. Which also, I'll say this, I fully expected there to be some kind of like commentary on that or explanation, or like when they're still like introducing the idea, right? All these kids are being like, okay, we're gonna send you to Tartarus so you can fight these demons, right? And you can summon a persona. Nobody ever is like, oh, so I have to shoot myself in the head for that? Like it's just like they're like, whatever. Nobody says anything.
The marketing when this game
it's
originally
weird.
They started showing this game, it was like, because they could have maybe changed it, like maybe made the guns look more like weird devices,
something else.
Or even like, I like Chris Davis's idea, like finger guns or something. That would have been
there was cuts. Maybe that's too edgy. Finger guns, easy, buddy. No, early. I mean, I remember when they first were showing off this game, like marketing the game, there was like a cutscene of like, a young teenage girl like with a gun, and I'm trying to remember the actual.
She's having like a psychotic break. It looks like in the animation.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus, this shit was intense, and it was always that way. It was always like in the forefront of marketing. Like, back then it was like, this shit is edgy. Check this out. You couldn't just.
It's a different. We obviously, things have changed a little bit. It's one of those things where it's like I kind of would have expected them maybe to like tone that down or like find other ways to do something similar, and maybe some people would say that would be compromising the artistic integrity of it, which there's an argument to be made there, I suppose. It is kind of a lot. I was expecting to see it once in a while. No, it's like 50 times per battle. It's like, oh Jesus. Okay. But anyway, that's all I had to say about it.
It's a striking it's intense, right? But it's also like it's fucking like it's like the imagery is like crazy. Like it's more interesting than like the shit they were doing in the games that came after.
At least 4. I liked what they did in. Like, I really liked the whole like
the masks and shit. But I'm saying it wasn't. It just, the effect is not the same. It was like,
and maybe that's not a bad thing. I don't know, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. I mean, it's always been a part of the game, and we already know about it. So I'm not gonna like open up a huge can of worms on it. It's just
it's dark. That's a topic that's like a big deal in Japan.
Nick, similar to 5, you enjoying the music?
Yeah, dude, the music's so good. The music is so good. And the UI and the UX shit in this game is just kind of it's.
I think so. I want to. The original 3, the UI was okay, and 4 got better, and I really think they did something special with 5, and I think that's why they've kind of took an inspiration from that as well.
Yeah. So is the music in this totally different than the music in the original?
So no, it's a lot of I think some of the songs might be the same, but I know some of them are re-recorded. We were talking about it last week. There's a couple of songs that it seems like maybe the heart wasn't completely in it on the re-recording.
Oh no!
But
they're still rapping and shit, right?
Oh no, for sure. But yeah, some of them, and I can't remember. We were talking about it last week in Discord. That the comparison I was saying was it sounded like In one of them, the original one, it felt like she was like, singing her soul out, and in the remake or the remix or whatever, it felt like she was like kind of reading sheet music. Like it very much like the oomph wasn't there. But it's still good music for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep going with it. I can't promise I'm gonna finish it, but it's definitely got a flow to it that I'm really enjoying. And
whoa, you were already saying you can't.
Well, you are already planting the seed in my head, Brad, that I can't finish it. So like,
no, but that's weird
that
though. Like usually you're like, dude, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it.
I'm trying to be realistic here, man. I'm also
wow. Okay, all up at the 5 points. All up at the 5 points.
I'm also just a quick mention here. I'm also like finally like going balls deep in Baldur's Gate 3. So like I'm playing some big shit right now.
You're just catching up.
Yeah, we got to do it sometime. All right. So here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna let y'all kind of help me figure this out, because we've talked about a lot of stuff tonight. Helldivers 2 was on our itinerary for the night. We're coming up on 2 hours. So what do y'all want to do? Do you want to try and save Helldivers for another week, or do y'all want to go ahead and
Is anybody else gonna play that game or play more of it? I feel like this would be an awesome community game. Why is this not on PS Plus? Damn it! I feel like Sony should have playing it with my PS friends. Plus.
I've been playing a bunch of it actually.
Our community has been very active with it. Like we now have a dedicated role for it in the Discord now.
Chris Davis and Krispy, y'all do a community night, man. Come on. I just wish I could play
Crispy's
too.
Like, no.
I've done several sessions with the community. In fact, the footage I have ready was with me playing with the community.
Okay, here's the deal. Let's talk about it. I want to talk about it, but
yeah, just do it.
4-player minutes need to be minutes tonight.
I mean, time-wise, I feel like we're ahead of time usually.
Well, I guess our first segment was a little bit shorter because we
don't have any news to really talk about. So
or we started earlier. I don't know what happened, but I mean,
anyway,
it's so against the wire.
Let's talk about the most democratic game released in the past 25 years, Helldivers 2. Fucking fun. Yes, because you are a Helldiver, a member of the army of Super Earth. You are bringing democracy and liberty to the greater galaxy.
Oh, this is one of those games that gets Chris Davis all riled up.
Yeah.
It's... Okay, you have to realize, Helldivers is a gigantic spoof of Starship Troopers for the most part. Like,
and we know
this
much you love
this is Starship Troopers if it was a comedy. And
okay, all right. Well,
wait a second.
Because Starship Troopers is already like
Starship Troopers is
Starship Troopers more of a commentary. This is a comedy, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, Starship Troopers is pretty.
Are you suggesting that commentary and comedy are two different things?
No,
or mutually exclusive? Maybe.
Like it's anyway.
This is just it's a little more heightened than the Starship Troopers movie,
absolutely.
Which in and of itself is basically a spoof satire of the book, which is not funny at all.
No, it's not. It is not. You read that original novel, and it's.
I keep forgetting.
I did. I read that novel in middle school, and then again in high school.
It is something.
It's good, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Helldivers 2. What is this?
First off, it's really fucking good. It is a third-person shooter to where there is a galactic war going on between Super Earth at the center of the galactic map and two other factions. One are the Terminids, which are basically giant insect warrior alien things, and the automatons, which are basically, I can't believe they're not Terminators. Great value Terminators.
Yes.
Hill Country Fair Terminators.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's the entire loop of this games as a service title is that every time you play, you are contributing to the war effort against these two factions.
But like everybody's contributing to a collective.
Yes,
goal?
It is called
it's like in the first game, right?
I'm doing my part.
There's a running count of
What you did there, Nolan.
of each planet and how like liberated, quote unquote, they are. Mm-hmm. And you can only go to planets that are like on the war front, right? That are like on the front, that are not liberated. Cool. So like the planets that we were playing on 2 or 3 days ago, got liberated. So the front moved farther out away from Earth. So we're on new planets now, and the whole community is working together to like liberate these different worlds.
Can those worlds be unliberated? Like, can the front line move back towards Earth?
Presumably.
Or is it just constant
Presumably,
because,
yes.
Because the front started like 3 or 4 sectors away from Earth, but all those sectors between Earth and where the front is are like selectable and have planets in them and stuff like that. So like things could go bad, and the bugs or the robots could push closer and closer to Earth, and like
people are not playing as the bugs and the robots. Those are
no.
Okay.
No,
but if you work hard together, you'll finally reach girl.
Yeah, girl.
Some
Wait, what's
Noby boy humor. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's
a specific kind of humor.
Very specific joke. Yeah. So the whole gameplay loop is you and up to a member of a squad of 4 jump down or fall down, hell dive, if you will, onto a sector of the planet, and it's randomized the objective you're going to be doing every time, pretty much. And you complete side objectives, you kill a bunch of enemies, and then you extract within a set amount of time.
I heard someone call this an extraction shooter, and I was like, "How dare you?"
This is not that. No,
That is not the right use of that.
Like, no.
Yeah. Did either of y'all play the first Helldivers?
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah,
this is a sequel, but like Helldivers was this sort of game, but
it was this,
right?
but it was a top-down twin stick shooter, and then they just said, "Let's make it a third-person shooter."
So when I think of Helldivers 1, I'm thinking of like one of the reasons that shit was so fun is because like friendly fire is a thing, and it's so easy and funny to accidentally kill your teammates. Is that like still a big thing here?
It's still.
I was killed within 15 seconds of dropping onto this map.
I mean, everything you do, like you're throwing grenades, you're calling in orbital strikes, all the equipment you request is dropped by pods that will fucking kill you if they hit. Like, yeah, you're just killing each other left and right all the time,
and you're not doing it on purpose. It just fucking happens.
Well, and it kind of like swings back and forth between being like, "Oh, that was funny," to like, "I am fucking pissed off. Please stop killing me." Like, yeah, you're playing with randos online, and they're like firing and they're strafing, and they just like walk right behind you and blow your head off. Like,
yeah,
like that sounds cool.
I hate it. But yeah,
but also like you get a queue of like 20 lives between everyone to use, so like it doesn't really feel that punishing. Like you don't feel bad for dying necessarily.
Your team
it doesn't, but you have to go through. So like anytime you call in an airstrike or you call in supplies or you respawn characters, you're doing that with these stratagems which require you to hold L1 and then input a combo on the D-pad while you're in the middle of a firefight to do it. So like, yeah, well, I mean the other point, yeah, dude. Yes, Brad. What?
I'm just saying. I'm glad to hear that this game is.
This game is the first Helldivers. It's just the first Helldivers, but it's third person, and the games of service aspect has been ramped up a little bit because now they have a shop where you can like buy shit, and they have battle passes.
Yeah.
But that's it. Everything else is exactly the same. Is like the same. But like
in a good way. In a good way. That was
in a way that is like that first one was good and this one's good. And like it's a really cool game. I think 80% of the people who are playing it right now won't be in a month, but like it's really fun. It's really
fun. Like the games as a service stuff like dragging it down at all?
No. I don't think it is. The battle pass stuff like
too.
it really doesn't.
It's game service stuff. I mean, it's as gross as that idea is to you.
Yeah, but it's also like not very pay to win.
Playing it.
Like
I mean it's like because most of these games are like that. It's like a flash in the pan kind of a bunch of like something else comes out and everyone moves on. Like,
but that being said,
like,
right now
there's
two
arcadey shooter. Like
there's 200,000 people concurrently playing it on Steam right now.
That's
like,
a lot. That's a
lot.
So let's circle back
for a Tuesday night. Yeah,
but I mean, Krispy's right. Like, and that's another, leg of this whole content or conversation about games as a service games is like, because now there are so many and everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie, it makes it very difficult for any one game, no matter how good it is, to be successful.
Cybel in chat asked, "You can complete the battle pass without paying, can't you?" Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
The free battle pass. There's a different premium battle pass that you have to pay for.
So
that,
Chris,
which
we have
has
a
been
question.
standard in
The first battle pass, like the one that you can complete without paying, is like 8 pages long, and the premium one that you pay for is like 3 pages. But it has like equipment and shit in there. Like it has actual weapons.
The only game I've ever spent a significant amount of time on playing that had a similar system of battle pass was Call of Duty, specifically Modern Warfare. Sorry, not Modern Warfare.
Warzone.
Warzone, thank you. And how it worked was I bought one battle pass, and if you essentially got far enough into it, you would earn enough credits to buy the next one. Is it a similar system here where you can essentially earn credits to buy the next battle pass?
Yeah, you can.
So the premium battle pass in this game is 1,000 super credits. And you can find super credits on the map. You can find them through unlocking through the other battle pass, the free one. So theoretically, you don't have to spend any money on this. You just got to dedicate the time to it.
Yeah, time is money though. That's the argument. Is you could make that and there was a point in time when I was playing Warzone on the reg that I got to the point where I'm like, fuck, I don't have enough time to finish this battle pass before the season ends. I'm like 300 points shy of being able to buy the next one for free, so I'm going to buy a couple of points so I can then do the next one, because I'm not going to dedicate 15 more hours that's versus like spending like $5. I'd rather just do that.
I mean, you don't it takes so you get those super credits from the battle pass in 100 credit increments, but then the amount of seals that you have to get to unlock them increases
Gotcha. So I mean that's how Warzone was. You had to get to level 50 in the battle pass, and for every 10 levels you would get 100 credits, and it was 1,000 for the next one. So it seems like it's the same concept.
It is. If you're gonna play this game like a lifestyle game, you probably will be able to unlock the battle pass.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Can I ask you this? Why is a game like this this game is very successful already, right? 200,000 concurrent, and that's just the Steam version.
Certainly
alone.
seems like
this was heavily promoted as a PlayStation game, right? It's Sony published. The thing is, you were saying 12,000 concurrent for
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad
also had a lot of
what does this
going into
have?
it.
What does this have that game doesn't? Why is this huge?
This doesn't have the stink that Suicide Squad already had on it.
That's a vast
and also
difference.
Suicide Squad's a $70 game, and this is a $40 game.
That's also a huge one. Yeah,
and
for sure.
Yeah,
but it still seems like a fucking gulf, and that
I really think I think you are underestimating you are underestimating just how made up everybody's minds was about Suicide Squad for years at this point.
Yeah,
versus
people who don't
there's just this fun little sequel to that game, Helldivers. Remember that? That was kind of cool. This looks cool. It's a lot of fun. It's $40. It came out. Boom. There's just no build up.
People who play Power, the kinds of people who play this type of game all the fucking time. And why aren't those people interested in Suicide Squad? Those people didn't make up their mind. They play this kind of game. They don't even give a shit what's coming out. They just see the hot new thing on Steam and they pick it up.
Well, because it's $70, and the first time they go and plug in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League into Google, they're seeing the discourse. They're not seeing the game. You know what I mean?
I'm saying a lot of the people who are buying a game like this,
I don't not understand. Listen, I do not understand your position. I honestly just think you are underestimating how much people were already turned off by Suicide Squad.
I think everyone wanted Suicide Squad to be good.
Dude,
What
listen,
are you talking about? No,
dude,
they didn't.
That ship sailed. That ship sailed during that first major gameplay demo that they did, and everybody turned against it, and that was it.
There's people like Crispy who like games as a service games, and he picked it up.
Well, yeah, of course. There's a certain number of those people who are always going to try it, but like,
so maybe I'm over.
Yeah,
the thing is, that's also like a huge major like IP in comics, or like
it's fraught. I mean, it's got
what
that
publisher
DC
in the world would ever greenlight something that is like a fucking expensive IP that they're gonna have to pay like franchise cost for, when some fucking random ass Helldivers game shits all over that. And like
because
Avengers
these
bombed,
people
DC
live
bombed,
in a
Avengers
different
bombed
world
when Marvel was at its peak in the theaters. Like, what the fuck?
I think there's a reason. Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things there. I think first off, you have the whole thing of it's a known quantity. There are other aspects of
expectations.
Well, no, there are, but I'm saying Suicide Squad. People to an extent know some of the members at least. The movie, the first one, while as bad as it was, the follow-up was good. There has been a decent amount of traction in some of the other similar style, the more like kind of Deadpool style, like not as like PG comic book stuff. So I think the assumption is hey, we can market this and potentially get that, versus Helldivers, which yes, the first one was good, but it's not as popular. It's not a known quantity. It's one of those things where while Helldivers 2 has been successful so far, there are dozens of other games that are unknown quantities that fell flat like immediately. And so I think that's the thing, is a big studio is not going to pick up something completely new unless there is a whole lot of traction behind it for some reason or another.
I really think it comes down
more
to
fun than Suicide Squad, Crispy.
I would say 200,000 people think so.
Well, a lot more than 200,000 millions. Actually.
Is it more fun than Suicide Squad?
It's
two very different tastes.
I don't think it is. I mean, really, I think they're both fun. I've played a lot of this with friends, and as a with friends game, it's great. I've played this solo. I did it for about 20 minutes and stopped playing. I played 30 hours of Suicide Squad solo. You know what I mean?
Suicide Squad has a higher Steam rating than Helldivers 2, maybe by a lot. Helldivers 2 is at 70%.
Helldivers 2 got review bombed because the PC port was fucked up. Yeah, and people
they were having launch day issues.
Exactly, like people couldn't connect with each other. They couldn't play in parties, and people there was no use for this game if you couldn't play with your friends.
I'm surprised to see Suicide Squad at a very positive 82% on Steam.
That is pretty surprising.
Yeah, because the complaints against Suicide Squad are largely philosophical. Like, you either are disgusted by the idea of the game or you're playing the game. If you play the game, it's kind of fun. Like, it's a fun game, but it's not perfect. Right? But
there are 3,700 reviews for Suicide Squad, which is not good.
Because of the fucking memes, dude. Because of the fucking people. Because this game has just been rotting in people's brains for years. Helldivers 2 just kind of came out of nowhere.
6,000 reviews.
Okay.
Jesus.
This is one of those mysteries that I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of right now.
It's certainly not a mystery that's going to be solved by comparing gameplay between the two games, because
that is true.
Well, it's just not that. Games as a service.
It's just not that.
Shooters.
It's just not that. The difference really isn't that.
Brett,
it's just 10 times less. I mean,
I think the
crazy.
easiest way to sum up the difference here is just baggage, man. Suicide Squad has so much baggage, and Helldivers is just simple.
I mean, Pokemon has baggage, and it just became the best-selling game of all, or Power World just became the best-selling game of all time.
But you're comparing these things they're all different.
I'm just trying to figure it out, because I'm seeing AAA studios throw all this money at games for 9 years, have premium franchise IP, and then it bomb fucking so horrible that it's going to have huge impacts on the industry. And how can it not when like little fucking no-name games come out of nowhere and set the world on fire? How does anybody in this industry make any sort of like green light decision? That's fucking crazy.
That's a good question, and we're not going to have an answer tonight. So that is an
especially when these decisions are
being
being made by people that like aren't anything like us. Like don't live in the same world that we live in.
To Crispy's point, and I'm not trying to be like cynical, but it's kind of rich people paying other rich people, and it doesn't matter that Suicide Squad does poorly. The people at the top are still getting their money at the end of the day, and the people below them suffer, but they don't really care.
It's just funny, right? Because we come from Suicide Squad, and I'm like, well, games as a service is a mistake. They're going to look at this and say this is a mistake. But this Helldivers 2 is a Sony published game, and it costs like a fraction of what Suicide Squad did. And for the past year or so, we've been saying, well, Sony's moving toward all these games as a service. They're announcing all these games as a service games. Like, that's such a big mistake, a tragedy. Don't they see the writing on the wall? And then Helldivers 2 overnight is like a huge success for them. They're probably going to make
because games as service isn't really like the problem that everyone thinks it is.
I'm saying,
if the service that's provided is good, no one's gonna care.
But that's the thing. If you look at reviews, people are like, "There's not much here, and I don't know how long this is gonna last."
And who says it's gonna last forever, Brad?
Helldivers 2.
Either of them?
Yeah, Helldivers 2.
But that's the thing is, it could stop here in the next like 2 weeks. But like to Christy's point, I think it's one of those things where in a post-COVID world, especially, people are finding more enjoyment playing with their friends online, and this gives them that fun experience.
Also, would it surprise you to hear that like the estimate, like we don't know what the development cost of Helldivers 2 was, but the estimate is that over 8 years they spent $50 to $100 million developing Helldivers 2.
That's a lot.
It's not nothing.
That's a lot.
It's probably
this isn't like some little indie game that guys hacked together.
I never said it was an indie game. I said it was a Sony published game, but it is a. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like Suicide Squad's closer to like fucking 300 million, right? 500 million. Like,
I mean, probably
games are crazy these days.
Probably, but I would be willing to bet that half of Suicide Squad's budget went into marketing.
We do need to move on, and this is not something we're going to get an answer to overnight.
But I mean,
I will just say this, and I think this is one of the most important aspects of the whole comparison in the first place, is that there is just a certain amount of like until people are able to like disassociate their disassociate their idea of like a Rocksteady superhero game from Batman Arkham. Because so much of this backlash against is just people were expecting a follow-up to the Arkham games, and instead we got this. And people can't get over that. There's a certain amount of people who are just refusing to get over that. And maybe rightfully so. I don't fucking know. But like it's just a really hard hump to get over for a lot of people. And you don't really have a lot of that, or any of that really, when you look at something like Helldivers 2.
Paul Tassi at Forbes wrote an article about Suicide Squad's numbers, and like Suicide Squad numbers on Steam and Xbox are real low. On PlayStation, they're good. Like,
and also you see the trajectory of these things change all the time. So like, who knows? Maybe in 2 months, Helldivers 2 will barely be on anyone's radar, and Suicide Squad could be like suddenly like had this huge surge in popularity or something. You never know. So probably not, but you never fucking know. Like, I mean, this is obviously not the same thing.
My guess is it goes the way of Avengers, which doesn't exist anymore.
Which is true, and again, this is what the comparison I'm about to make is not obviously the same. But like, if you think about something like Cyberpunk and how Cyberpunk came back and redeemed itself over 2 years later, like if they put the work in and they listen to people's feedback, there's a chance that this thing might become one of the few like redemption stories that we always talk about and rave about. But sometimes it just right out of like this could be a No Man's Sky. Who the fuck knows? Maybe in like 3 years, Suicide Squad is hugely successful.
Yeah, this one's DOA because of the type of game it is. It's DOA.
Very well could be.
Okay.
You're right. We're probably going to talk about this multiple times as time goes on. So let's move on. Let's wrap up. And again, in the interest of brevity.
Mine's not long,
minutes.
especially because I already talked some about it.
Okay.
I'll go first. Mine is just sort of my hype / complicated feelings for the Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remastered, which comes out tomorrow. Might already be out technically. I am being real, like kind of like nitpicky, like really kind of fine tooth comb. It's weird, right? They put modern controls in a game that should not control like that, and no, it kind of maybe works. We'll see. I'm just very excited. I'm a big classic Tomb Raider fan, and I'm glad to see that the reception has been generally positive, actually, because I didn't have much faith in the developer. So if we could, I just want to stress, like, man, those games are very different, and then like any sort of modern, like there are games that kind of look like Tomb Raider. Even like modern Tomb Raider kind of looks like Tomb Raider, but it's not like classic Tomb Raider. They're different genres completely. It's as different as like classic Doom is from, like a Call of Duty campaign, right? It's crazy. And so all I'm saying is ultimately, even though I'm being picky, I'm glad that the reception is good because, if people could pick it up and play classic Tomb Raider for the first time, and if they have enough like quality of life and stuff there, and in there to make it a little bit more accessible, like I'm just happy that more people might discover it because, it is older shit, and it was kind of hard to go back to and like set up and everything, and this is cool. Let's get some new classic Tomb Raider fans beating that drum because, man, that shit was good. There's nothing like it anymore. There's nothing like it.
Nope.
It's weird. Yeah. That's all.
Cool. Chris Davis, you want to go next?
Happy Valentine's Day, Laura.
Laura?
Happy Easter, Xbox. My final thought is that Luther Coin is appropriate for the universe of Suicide Squad, but it's incorrect. The correct answer would have been crypto.
Oh shit! I get that.
Boo! I hate you.
That's a dad joke.
Why would you not have like the Bat card?
Because Superman's dog's name is Crypto.
Well, I was thinking more like Kryptonite, but yes, sure.
Yeah, that's why he's named Crypto.
I appreciate your dad joke, Chris Davis.
You're welcome. Also, Helldivers 2, I didn't get to say, is excellent, and everyone should play it.
It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Sweet. All right, Nolan.
So my 4-player minute. Been enjoying Yakuza Infinite Well so far, but per everything we've talked about earlier, it's hasn't gotten to the good part, but I'm sticking with it because I know I'm going to love it once I do, and I'll be very addicted to it. I'm still turning off my brain and playing Binding of Isaac. It's one of those things where I had never unlocked any of the tainted characters, and I'm finally starting to do that. It's very challenging, but also very rewarding and fun. I've been having a lot of fun kind of turning off my brain and watching Louis Theroux documentaries and playing The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, did you watch that Mr. Skin or whatever it was called? Not Mr. Skin.
Unsure.
Louis Theroux, his newest one.
I haven't seen his newest ones, dude. I've been watching his shit from like 98, 99. I've been watching his old stuff. And so that's been nice. But the other thing I've been doing while I've been watching these old Louis Theroux documentaries is a bit of a mystery. I will say it's what Prince did on Christmas Day of last year, but to a bit more of an extreme.
Prince is dead.
Wait, are we talking about Prince of the Universe, or are we talking about the artist formerly?
Prince of the
that's
Universe.
my confusion. Okay.
Prince of the Universe. Prince from Marchet. I've been doing that as well.
Well, you can't do that. You can't do that to us. No, I don't remember what the fuck he did last. What did he do?
Fine. There's ways to figure out what he did. It's in our Discord.
You know what you did, Prince.
Prince is in chat. Tell us what you did. He's got to be in chat.
That's it for me.
Damn. Okay. Fine, Nolan. Krispy, what's up?
What's up? Actually, I did it again. I confused Louis Theroux for that New Zealand guy who did Dark Tourism on Netflix.
Which New Zealand guy?
Oh God! Well, you would ask that. He did that documentary Tickled. Do you remember that?
I do not. But this sounds like something I might be interested in, so I would like to. Would you
that
like
works.
to know more? I would.
David Farrier, that's his name. David Farrier.
Okay.
I always confuse those two guys because they're the same person. It's just one's
Basically.
British and one's New Zealand. So yeah, I don't know. Suicide Squad, pretty cool, but I think I'm putting it on the back burner until season 1 comes out. Try the Joker, and then maybe I'll have a better idea of whether or not this game is good or not. You know what I mean? Like this game's gonna live and die by its support, and we'll see what that support looks like. Helldivers,
You've had some fun with it though.
Helldivers, same story. Also really cool. I'm playing it now mostly because my friends are playing it. I really want to see what some of the future updates. They've already basically announced that very soon they're going to be adding the mech from the first game into it. Mm-hmm. So you can call down a mech suit and get in it and mow down bugs and robots, and that sounds fucking pretty sick. Cool. Really fucking sick. And I really want to play Infinite Wealth, but I'm so fucking overwhelmed by the idea of starting that game. But now that I've learned that they've put a full goddamn Animal Crossing into it, and it like looks like Animal Crossing, but like in the Yakuza engine, just fuck me. I don't have any money, guys.
That's my final thought. I have no money.
Like, give me money.
Patreon.com/4Player.
There we go.
That's it.
All right, and my final thought for this week is I have a decision to make. I didn't stream yesterday. I'm trying to stream on Mondays, but I decided to maybe for a number of reasons. But one of them was I think I'm gonna put off streaming until maybe tomorrow or Thursday. And I don't know what I want to play. I'm playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 in the background right now, but that's old news, and I don't know how much people want to watch me play Baldur's Gate 3. So we had 2 new releases this week, Ultros, which we mentioned at the beginning, and Banishers, both of which are reviewing pretty decent. And I was interested in both of them. I played the demo for Ultros, and I'm still not really sure how I feel about it, other than, I think it does a lot of really cool things visually, and I like Metroidvanias, so it's kind of a no-brainer on that. But I was perusing Twitter today, and Steven Totilo had tweeted about his time with Ultros, and he listed, he made a little bullet list or whatever of why he really loved Ultros. One of which is it's a Metroidvania with gardening and stuff. But the last thing he said caught my attention, because he said, a few hours in, an extraordinary gameplay twist that leads to the most elaborate puzzle I've ever seen in a game, and it's completely optional. And it made me immediately think of Tunic. Made me immediately think of Tunic. And now I'm like, fuck, I might have to prioritize Ultros.
It ain't Tunic.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, but I know... There's no way in hell Ultros is gonna out Tunic, but I am such a slut for those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think I know what it is, and I think it's the opposite of what you want.
Well, no, I'm not even saying I want it to be like Tunic, but I just like optional puzzles. But here's the thing, and Sterling is freaking out, Jack. But Nick, Persona 3. I am playing Persona 3. I'm not gonna stream Persona 3. I don't think people want to tune in to watch me play Persona 3. I don't think people want to tune in to watch me play Baldur's Gate. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I like to play for my own enjoyment, I just don't think people like to watch.
Easy the direction you're going with this.
What?
Yeah.
What do you?
People really just want to tune in to watch you fail all the knowledge check questions during your class days.
I'm not gonna let them hold that shit over my head. I learned my lesson with Bully. I mean, the good thing about the questions they ask you in class in Persona is a lot of it's really obtuse shit that I don't think many people really know. It's not here's a geography lesson. It's what do they call this really obscure thing that controls a train? How do train tracks work? It's just
Spain.
Yeah,
I
don't think it was that bad. It wasn't Spain,
No.
right?
You couldn't figure out where Greece was.
Oh.
Hey man, it's not a matter of. Hey, let's end this podcast. Fuck all you. My point is, I don't think people really want to watch me play Persona or Baldur's Gate for that matter. I don't know. I feel like I don't play a lot of really streamable games these days. A lot of what I really get excited about playing.
I'm starting to feel like I don't play a lot of streamable games these days.
But hey, whatever. That's the price we pay for being quote unquote variety streamers, I suppose. I don't fucking know. But anyways, I'm gonna stream something Wednesday or Thursday this week. Just kind of, it depends on how long it takes me to edit this podcast tomorrow. But it's either gonna be Ultros or Banishers probably, and I'm starting to lean towards Ultros, but we'll see.
Can I piggyback on your shit real quick and say, like, look, I am equipped and set up to stream way more often, and I kind of don't stream that much, but like, if y'all want me to, just let me know, because sometimes I feel like I do and it just seems like no one gives a shit, and that's fine. I'm letting y'all know however I know, via Discord, Twitter, whatever. It's all I got left. But sometimes it's just easier to relax and not turn all that shit on. So just if you want me to stream, let me know. I'm equipped to. I could stream most nights even. Just you know.
All right.
Tell me what game you want to see, or if you even want to see me at all. So
I could also stream Resident Evil 4 Remake in VR, but then again, streaming anything in VR is a huge headache. Holy shit. But anyways, that's it. That's our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Fucking video games, right? We'll be back with more to talk about next week. In the meantime, again, if you haven't, check out our 2023 Game of the Year videos. They're all out now. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on 4playernetwork.com. You can find them on our Twitter accounts, all that shit. If you're not on our Discord, we'd love to have you. Discord.gg/4player. And you can find all of our, podcasts on the website or on Spotify, all that shit. We appreciate each and every one of you who tune in every week to listen. In the meantime, y'all be good to each other. Play video games. Good night.
Bye.
Night.